I want to tell you about an author I know. She launched her first book 5 years ago. It did well. She launched her second book 8 months later. It did better. She launched her third book 6 months after that. Bestseller lists, media coverage, income she never imagined. By year 3, she was burned out. By year 4, she could not write. By year 5, she quit. She won the sprint, but she lost the marathon. And authorship is a marathon. Welcome back to Unseen Author Journeys. I am Luigi Pascal Rondanini. In episode 11, we talked about audiobooks. In episode 12, we talked about the book launch blueprint. Today, we are talking about something most author podcasts ignore completely. Sustainability. How to build an author career that lasts decades, not just years. How to avoid burnout. How to pace yourself for the long game. How to still be writing and still be loving it 20 years from now. This might be the most important episode in the entire series. Let me start with why this matters. The author advice industry is obsessed with launches, first week sales, bestseller lists, rapid release schedules, more books faster. And all of that advice works in the short term, but it creates a hidden cost. Every author I know who followed the rapid release playbook hit a wall, usually around book 5 or 6, sometimes earlier. The wall looks different for different people. For some, it is creative exhaustion. They cannot come up with new ideas. For some, it is physical exhaustion. They are sleeping poorly, eating badly, ignoring their health. For some, it is relationship damage. Their family barely sees them. Their friendships have withered. For many, it is all three. The tragedy is that these authors did everything right. They followed the advice. They built the audience. They hit the numbers. And then they could not continue. A career that burns you out in 5 years is not a career. It is a cautionary tale. Let me give you a different model. Instead of optimizing for maximum output, optimize for sustainable output. What is the pace you can maintain for 20 years? Not the pace you can sprint for 2 years before collapsing, the pace you can sustain indefinitely. For most authors, that is 1 book per year, maybe 2 if you write shorter books or have significant support. 1 book per year for 20 years is 20 books. 20 books is a substantial body of work. 20 books is a legacy. 20 books is financial security if each one sells modestly. But you only get there if you are still writing in year 20. And you will only be writing in year 20 if you protect yourself along the way. Let me talk about the sources of author burnout. Source 1. Unrealistic output expectations. The indie author community often celebrates authors who publish 4, 6, 8 books per year. These authors exist, some of them are thriving, but they are outliers. They often have ghostwriters, co-writers, or writing teams. They often write in genres with established formulas that allow rapid production. They often have no other job, no caregiving responsibilities, no health issues. Comparing yourself to them is comparing yourself to professional athletes. Yes, they exist. No, their approach does not apply to most people. Set your output expectations based on your life, not someone else's highlight reel. Source 2. The comparison trap. Social media shows you everyone's wins. Book deals, bestseller screenshots, 6-figure months, movie options. It does not show you their struggles, the rejections before the deal, the books that flopped, the month with 0 sales, the anxiety and self-doubt. When you compare your full picture to someone else's highlight reel, you will always feel inadequate, and that feeling erodes your motivation over time. The only comparison that matters is you today versus you last year. Are you improving? Are you learning? Are you still in the game? Source 3. Neglecting everything except writing. Writing requires your mind. Your mind requires your body. Your body requires sleep, exercise, nutrition, and rest. Authors who sacrifice their health for their word count are borrowing from the future. Eventually, the debt comes due. I have seen authors develop chronic pain from poor posture, develop anxiety from constant pressure, develop depression from isolation, develop metabolic problems from sitting all day. Your body is not separate from your writing. It is the foundation of your writing. Neglect it and your writing will eventually suffer too. Source 4. No boundaries with readers and social media. Being accessible to readers is wonderful, but being constantly accessible is exhausting. If you are checking your reviews every hour, responding to every social media comment within minutes, refreshing your sales dashboard obsessively, you are not working, you are spiraling. Boundaries are not rude, they are necessary. Designated times for checking email, designated times for social media, days completely off, vacations where you actually disconnect. Readers will wait. Your mental health will not. Source 5. Tying your identity to your sales. This is the deepest source of burnout and the hardest to fix. When your book sells well, you feel good about yourself. When it sells poorly, you feel worthless. When you get a bad review, it ruins your day. When you get a good review, you feel validated. This emotional roller coaster is exhausting, and it gets worse over time because the highs fade faster and the lows cut deeper. You are not your sales. You are not your reviews. You are not your Amazon ranking. You are a person who writes books. The books are things you make. They are not who you are. Separating your identity from your output is hard work, but it is essential work if you want to last. Let me talk about practical sustainability strategies. Strategy 1. Set annual goals, not daily goals. Daily word count goals create pressure every single day. Miss a day and you feel guilty. String together a few bad days and you feel like a failure. Annual goals are different. You want to write one book this year. That is roughly 1,000 words per day if you write every day. But you will not write every day. So some days you write 2,000. Some days you write nothing. It evens out. Annual goals give you flexibility. A bad week does not matter if you have 52 weeks to hit your target. Strategy 2. Build in recovery time. After every book launch, take time off. Not from life, from writing and promotion. A launch is intense. You expend enormous energy. If you immediately start the next book, you are running on empty. Take a week. Take a month if you can afford it. Read for pleasure. Do something completely unrelated to writing. Let your creative well refill. Recovery is not laziness. Recovery is maintenance. You do not run a car without oil changes. Do not run yourself without rest. Strategy 3. Diversify your identity. You are not just a writer. You are a person with multiple dimensions, hobbies, relationships, interests, communities. If writing is your entire identity, then writing problems become existential crises. But if writing is one important part of our rich life, then writing problems are just writing problems. Invest in the non-writing parts of your life. They are not distractions from your career. They are what makes your career sustainable. Strategy 4. Create before you consume. Start your writing time before you check email, social media, or news. Consumption depletes creative energy. Creation generates it. If you start your day by scrolling, you start depleted. If you start your day by writing, you build momentum. This simple habit change protects your creative energy from the endless demands of the online world. Strategy 5. Schedule white space. Most authors schedule their work. Writing time, marketing time, admin time. Few authors schedule nothing time. Time with no agenda. Time to think, rest, wonder. White space is where creativity regenerates. Without it, you are constantly drawing from the well without letting it refill. Block empty time in your calendar as if it were a meeting. Protect it fiercely. Let me talk about the seasons of an author career. Your capacity will not be constant across your life. There will be seasons of high output and seasons of low output. Both are normal. When you are young, single, and childless, you might have hours of uninterrupted writing time. When you have young children, those hours vanish. Writing happens in fragments, stolen moments, exhausted evenings. When children are older, time returns, but energy may not. You are older too. When you are caring for aging parents, everything is interrupted. When you are dealing with health issues, writing takes a back seat. These seasons are not failures, they are life. The authors who last are the ones who adapt to their seasons instead of fighting them. In a low output season, write less. Lower your expectations. Focus on maintenance, not growth. Keep the habit alive even if the volume is small. In a high output season, write more. Bank the progress. Build a backlist. Take advantage of the energy while it lasts. The goal is not constant output. The goal is continuous presence, still writing, at whatever level you can, through all the seasons. Let me talk about financial sustainability. Money stress kills creativity. If every book has to pay the mortgage, you cannot take creative risks. You cannot write the book you want to write. You write the book you think will sell. Financial sustainability means not depending on your next book's success. There are several ways to achieve this. Keep your day job until your backlist can support you, not until one book is successful, until you have enough books generating consistent income that you can weather a flop. Build multiple income streams, not just book royalties, courses, workshops, speaking, consulting, Patreon. Diversified income is stable income. Live below your author income. When a book does well, save the surplus. Do not inflate your lifestyle to match your best year. Save for the years when books do not sell. Have an emergency fund. 6 months to a year of expenses in savings. So when life happens, you are not panicking about money while also trying to write. Financial security gives you creative freedom. It lets you say no to projects that do not excite you. It lets you take time between books. It lets you write what matters instead of what sells. The irony is that creative freedom often leads to better books, which leads to more sales, which leads to more financial security. The virtuous cycle only starts when you stop being desperate. Let me talk about relationships. Writing is solitary, but life is not. The authors who last have support systems, partners who understand the work, friends who are not in the industry, communities that ground them. If writing has consumed all your relationships, you are vulnerable. When writing goes badly, you have no one to turn to. When writing goes well, you have no one to celebrate with who is not also a competitor. Protect your relationships. Schedule time for people who matter. Be present when you are with them. Do not always be thinking about the book. The people who love you are more important than your word count, and they will still be there when the book is forgotten. A common pattern I see is authors who sacrifice their relationships during the early career building phase, telling themselves they will reconnect later, when they have made it. But later never comes. There is always another book, another launch, another goal, and the relationships that could have sustained them are gone. Do not let this happen to you. Let me talk about creative sustainability. Burnout is not just physical and emotional, it is creative. If you write the same type of book over and over, with the same characters, the same tropes, the same structure, you will eventually lose interest. The well will run dry. Creative sustainability requires creative renewal. Read widely, not just in your genre. Expose yourself to different ideas, different forms, different voices. Let your reading feed your writing. Experiment with side projects. Write something you would never publish. Write in a different genre. Write poetry. Write a screenplay. Play with form without commercial pressure. Take creative risks in your main work. Push yourself in each book. Try techniques you have not mastered. Do not just repeat what worked before. Say no to projects that do not excite you, even if they would make money. Money earned from work you hate is not worth what it costs you. The authors who write for decades are the ones who stay curious, who keep exploring, who treat their career as a journey, not a destination. If you are only chasing sales, you will burn out. If you are also chasing growth, learning, and creative challenge, you can sustain this forever. Let me talk about what success actually looks like. Most authors have a fantasy of success. It involves bestseller lists, movie deals, financial freedom, recognition. That fantasy is not success. That fantasy is a lottery win. Real success is quieter. Real success is waking up on a Tuesday and spending your morning writing a book you care about. Real success is readers who email you to say your book changed something for them. Real success is enough money from your writing to support the life you want. Real success is still loving this work after 10, 15, 20 years. The authors chasing the lottery win are often miserable, even when they win, because there is always someone with bigger numbers, always another list to hit, always another milestone that promises happiness but delivers only temporary satisfaction. The authors who define success on their own terms are often content. They know what they are building, they know why it matters, they are not comparing themselves to anyone else. Define your success clearly, write it down, revisit it when you feel inadequate. Are you on track for your success? Not someone else's, yours. If yes, you are winning, even if the world does not notice. Let me bring this together. A sustainable author career is not about writing faster or launching harder. It is about pacing yourself for the long game. It is about protecting your health, your relationships, and your creativity. It is about building financial stability so you can take creative risks. It is about adapting to the seasons of your life. It is about defining success on your own terms. The authors who are still writing in 20 years are not necessarily the most talented, they are the most sustainable. They figure out how to keep going when others burned out. That is the real skill. Not writing a great book and then another for decades while still having a life worth living. In episode 11, we talked about audiobooks. In episode 12, we talked about book launches. Today, we talked about how to make all of this sustainable for the long haul. All the tactics in the world mean nothing if you burn out before you can use them. Take care of yourself, pace yourself, play the long game. Before I go, 2 recommendations. First, if you're working on a book and want help with the craft side, check out my other podcast, The Architect's Method. It is a 14-episode series on vision first writing. The idea is that you should be able to see your entire story before you write a single word. The Architect's Method teaches you how to build that complete vision, how to structure your book before you draft it. So, when you sit down to write, you know exactly where you're going. Episode 1 is available now, new episodes every Friday. You can find it on Spotify. Second, if you want to see how to build something sustainable in the author space, visit bloodandbones.rondanini.com. It is an interactive experience for my upcoming fiction book, Blood and Bone, a story about vampire physiology. The website includes games, music, and more. It is part of the long game I'm playing, building something that lasts, not chasing quick wins. Check it out. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this episode resonated with you, if you felt seen in any of the burnout patterns I described, share it with another author who needs permission to slow down. Until next time, keep writing, keep resting, keep going. See you in episode 14.